Here's to plagiarism.
Yes, we enjoy a bit of that.
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson, Richard James, and Chris Dale.
Hello.
Hello.
What are you waiting for?
Sorry, it's been so long.
I know.
I've actually forgotten what to do.
I know. I was hoping you could remind me as we go along.
Well, I'm deducing from our surroundings that possibly we might be talking about all things Gerry Anderson.
Oh, yes, of course.
Good, all the little knickknacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And also, I suppose, your presence here is quite crucial.
Is it?
Because you've been in Gerry Anderson things and you've written Gerry Anderson things and you've voiced Gerry Anderson things.
This sounds very much like an introduction.
Yes.
Okay, so is this where I say my name? I forgot this bit about. Okay, so I'm Richard James.
Excellent.
Now, you must be here because you share a surname with a certain legendary TV and film producer.
I do indeed.
That TV and film producer being Gerry Anderson, the podcast of which we are building around us.
Right.
So you are...
Jamie Anderson.
Right.
Middle name Lionel, by the way.
It's all coming together now, isn't it?
And of course, we are joined by the real expert in the room every week, the randomiser himself, Chris Bloomingdale.
There he is. Hi, Chris. Bloomingdale.
Hi, guys.
Hi there.
I didn't want to F and Jeff. This is a very family-friendly podcast, I think.
F and Jeff, is he coming in later? F and Jeff. He's always late.
This week.
That's why he's called F and Jess. F and Jess. I've just misgendered him now.
Oh, dear. We're going to get cancelled.
Now, you see, the problem is we last did this a few weeks ago because I think it's no secret that we do these, in blocks of 4, every few weeks. But we had a very long summer break, didn't we?
It was lovely.
So forgive us if we get things wrong.
Yeah.
What do we do now?
We talk about the stuff that's coming up.
Stuff that's coming up. We've got a lot coming up.
We do. Go on.
No, I was going to say, the thing we haven't mentioned, of course, Thunderbirds Day.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
So we ought to talk about that.
That's coming up, yes.
So to celebrate Thunderbirds Day, guess who we've got coming in as a studio guest?
I've got no idea. I'll pretend I haven't read it in the script.
What would you say if I were to tell you that the voice of Lady Penelope herself from the Big Finish and Anderson Entertainment Adventure audios is coming in, and that is Genevieve Gaunt.
Genevieve Gaunt.
You stop it. What is it with these mild expletives in the middle of people's names?
It's a sign of how much love and respect I have for Chris Bloomingdale and Genevieve Gaunt.
But I'm just Richard James.
Yeah, moving on. Anyway, so we've got Fab Facts coming up, haven't we?
This means I've got to change all those little titles that come up on the screen, haven't I, now?
If you wouldn't mind inserting them there,
Fab Facts. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We've got Newsy News News a bit later on.
Love that.
Which is, news from the Gerry Anderson universe, where we will be sort of popping over to a secret location with our fourth musketeer, bespectacled Jamie Anderson.
Brilliant. Also spread throughout the voice of the Podsterons.
Yes, because they've been in touch at podcast@gerryanderson.com, and it's been a while since I said that.
It is. Well remembered.
But they've also been posting on our Facebook group, like Billio. Facebook.com/groups/Podsterons. And we'll be reading out some of their messages a bit later on.
Excellent. We've already said about Genevieve.
Yes, we said the news, we said Fab Facts, we mentioned the Podsterons. I think we've got it covered.
And then the randomiser at the end.
Well, that's not bad, is it? I think we did quite well, considering.
Well done, us.
Right. Better make a start then.
Okay. Then let's have a fab fact.
Now, time for this week's Fab Facts.
Your favourite bit and mine, Richard.
Yeah.
Look, Podsterons is the...
Look at that.
It's
beautiful,
Fab
isn't it?
Facts.
Lovely.
Caressing it.
What does it smell like? Does it smell fab as well? Does it smell factual?
This is the weirdest thing I'm going to do today. Do you know what? It weirdly has a scent that reminds me of the creature shop on Space Precinct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a bit odd, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it was in my bedroom previous to coming here, so...
I was going to say, it's slightly latexy. Anyway, let's move rapidly on. I've got a book of Fab Facts here, and every week I flick through it, and Richard shouts Fab. And then at the point he shouts Fab, I stop flicking, and hopefully we come across a fact which will be rather bloomin' fab.
Okay, well, let's see, shall we?
You ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
Fab!
Ooh.
Hey?
Yeah.
But just a minute. No, I've noticed this is happening more and more. Look at this. Can you see that?
If people are listening, they can't see what's happening.
Well,
so
I'll tell you what's happening. He stopped when I said Fab, and then he rather craftily flicked back a page or two.
It's forward, actually. But that's because sometimes we're halfway through another Fab Fact.
I see.
And we can't have that.
No, I see. I understand.
No,
so you have to flick on to the next full
The
Fab
first
Fact.
Fab? Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just natural. Just rounding up to the nearest Fab blooming fact. Richard James,
Yes.
I'm sure you will be aware, many of our listeners out there will also be aware that Thunderbirds was initially conceived as a 25-minute show.
Yes.
Did you know that?
I did, yes.
Are you sure?
That's not it, is it? Is that all?
That's this week's Fab Fact. No, similar to Stingray, Fireball XL5 and Supercar, and that the series was extended to 50-minute episodes after a particularly successful screening of the first episode for Lord Lou Grade.
Of course.
This involved going back to the 11 episodes that had already been shot as half hours and extending them to 50 minutes by adding new material, often involving a failed rescue carried out by someone else before International Rescue arrived on the scene and saved the day.
Okay, yeah, got you.
Got with me so
Yes,
far?
I'm with you, yes.
Good. However, one brief but memorable additional moment in the first episode of Thunderbirds, Trapped in the Sky, occurred by accident rather than by design.
Right, okay.
The moment in question is when one of the remote control elevator cars taking part in the rescue of Fireflash, elevator car number 3 to be precise, malfunctions and swerves off the runway just before the Fireflash is about to land on it, ultimately crashing into the back of a nearby plane.
Right.
That moment, though, was completely unplanned and occurred as the result of one of the prop elevator cars malfunctioning for real and driving off the runway set.
Oh, I see.
However, Dad and Derek Meddings and others liked the shot so much that it was incorporated into the story, becoming one of the last-minute setbacks to International Rescue's efforts to rescue the Fireflash.
Nice.
Now, obviously, the shot of the elevator car crashing into the other plane was not part of that accident and was filmed afterwards to enhance the drama.
Ah, got you.
One indication that it was a very late addition to the scene is that you can see just over the plane's wing, the lettering on the plane is reversed, indicating that the scene was filmed at the reverse angle to how we see it on screen, and then the footage was flopped for the final edit.
Right, okay.
Are you with me?
Yes, I think so.
However, in the final edit, although the text on the plane is the wrong way round, the number 3 on the elevator car that hits the plane is the right way round.
What? Say what now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means that it must have been filmed with the number 3 turned upside down
and then,
in order to appear backwards on the film.
Wow.
Do you see?
Is that what it means?
Probably. Why was this done?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Well, after so long, who knows?
Yeah.
But we have a guess. And our best guess is that obviously the shot of the back of the plane had to appear at an angle that made sense relative to the location of the runway, in this case with its starboard side facing the camera. Are you sort of with me still?
Not really.
Well, you should be. But because it was a background vehicle, the model makers may possibly have only put the lettering on the port side of the model. And then rather than send the plane away to have the starboard side worked on in preparation for this very brief shot, someone must have just had the bright idea of taking the elevator car, turn the number 3 upside down, and then they could just flop the footage and it would appear correctly. Are you with me?
No, you lost me ages ago.
Oh, brilliant.
But carry on.
Okay, fine. Well, that's our theory. So, Podsterons, if you have a theory or explanation for the simultaneously flopped and not flopped shot from Trapped in the Sky, drop us a line with the subject, flopped yet not flopped.
Flopped yet not flopped.
Yes.
That's in the subject line.
Flopped but not bloomin' flopped.
Okay, I mean, I think I got the gist of that.
Yeah, me too, just.
So there was a little bit of retrofitting going on. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
I see.
Off goes the elevator car. Quick, we need to make a thing that makes sense of it coming in left to right. But we don't have the right side for the thing, so we have to...
And often you just have to plough on because it's going to be doubly expensive to remount the shot again.
Exactly, no time.
It's rather like Tom Cruise breaking his ankle in that famous scene from one of the Mission Impossible films when he slams into the side of the building and he carries on running and you can plainly see.
And they put an upside down number 3 on him and...
Off he went.
Reverse the shot. Yeah,
perfect.
Done.
Things
exactly
like
the same.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, maybe we should flop us one day and I'll sit there and you sit here.
Okay, brilliant. You'll have to wear a reverse Space Precinct logo.
Right.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And I'll have to wear my headphones wrong the other ear.
Oh,
anyway,
it's getting needlessly complicated.
Yeah, let's not go further into this because it's already been too blooming complicated.
All right.
But that,
yes.
I think I know where I'm going with this.
Go on then.
That brings us to the end of this week's
Flopped
Fact. Oh, I was flopped fact.
You see what I did though?
But did you do flopped fact in reverse?
Yes.
Or did you just...
No, I did Fab Fact in reverse because flopped was too complicated. What do you mean, meh?
That's okay.
It's the spur of the moment. I didn't have time to think.
I love the idea.
Talking about not having time to think.
Yes.
A little later on, we'll be hearing from people who do have time to think, and they let us know our thoughts.
Is that the voice of the blooming Podsterons?
Will you stop it with the expletives? Because otherwise I'm going to have to flag this video when I upload it.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah, sorry.
So be careful.
Not kid-friendly.
No, that's right. I just want to say, this table, week by week, seems to be getting a little more cluttered.
Not cluttered.
Well, there's all sorts of things here now.
It's just more densely adorned.
I mean, we've got Captain Podley sitting here.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Doesn't
if
it?
a bit stained.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Although I've noticed that Thunderbird 2 is missing its rear end.
Is it now?
Yeah, don't know what's happened there.
It's a sweet little model, though.
Take it up with the set dresser.
Yes, I would. Yeah. Yes, exactly. There we are. Now, if you have any ideas of things that we could put on our table, then do let us know.
Ones that fit with the theme.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be good. Maybe we should start dressing the table, because, of course, we've got Thunderbirds Day coming up. Perhaps we should have thought ahead. We've got Parker and so on.
And Virgil.
But then we're celebrating in a few weeks' time, of course, Terrahawk's 40th anniversation.
It's not even in a few weeks. It's next week, isn't it, I think?
Week after next, I think, isn't it?
It's soon, anyway.
10-10 is a giveaway, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's a bit awkward because actually it's the 9th of October, I think, is the real 40th anniversary, but then 10th of October is...
Gotcha.
So it's it's going to be more of a Terrahawks weekender, if you will.
But coming in to join us will be John Lee, visual effects designer, and I think he worked on Terrahawks and also the Thunderbirds 2004 movie.
Yes.
We'll be talking to him about that, or rather Chris Dale will.
Yes, of course, Chris is going
to be stepping up to the mic. That's in a couple of weeks' time, though. Look forward to Genevieve Gaunt coming any moment now. But in the meantime, for those of us who are interested in Gerry Anderson news, how about let's have some Gerry Anderson news?
All right, then. Let's hand over to Specky, Jamie, for the Gerry Anderson news. Hello everyone, it's Jamie Anderson back with another update on all things Anderson. We have a lot of exciting news to share, so let's dive right in. Thunderbirds fans, brace yourselves. We're just 5 days away from Thunderbirds Day, and we've got plenty lined up. Freebies, announcements, and more. Plus, David and Jack are gearing up to host a very special live stream on, of course, the 30th of September to help you celebrate this iconic day. On the 28th of September, we're finally revealing our mysterious furry fiends. Trust me, you won't see this coming, but for the eagle-eyed amongst you, there have been clues scattered throughout the past 8 weeks. Cheers to Terrahawk's 40th anniversary. Thanks to our friends at Brew York, we are launching a very special Terrahawk's anniversary beer. Plus, mark your calendars for an exclusive event on the 7th of October in York with free Terrahawks beer for all ticket buyers. Make sure you grab yours, they're already half sold out. That's not all for Terrahawks, of course, because we're hosting a weekender full of fantastic merchandise and releases to mark the 40th anniversary. Whether you join us in person at Brew York or online, expect the unexpected. Have you been keeping an eye on our new Eagle collectibles? Eagle 1 and the Rescue Eagle are set to land next month, but stock will be strictly limited. Ensure you don't miss out by signing up for notifications. Just click the Eagle banner on the Gerry Anderson store. As always, our channels are brimming with content, so dive into the unfolding story of Dad's life and career if you like. It's our latest video series, alongside a treasure trove of other goodies waiting for you. Well, that's all for this week. Remember, whether it's exploring new frontiers with Thunderbirds or fighting off fiends with Terrahawks, keep the spirit of adventure alive and stay tuned for more exciting updates from the Gerry Anderson universe next week. But now it's back to Jamie and Richard in the studio.
Well, there is. It's always nice to see him, isn't it?
It is nice to see him, but I really miss you singing the news.
Oh, yes. It hasn't happened for a while, has it?
But nobody seems to have mentioned it, weirdly. I thought it was a big thing for you, Podsterons, that Richard sang that. And,
no, I think it's a big thing for one Podsteron, and that was Earl Black, I think, who used to enjoy that. Oh, no, he particularly enjoyed It's the Gerry Anderson Podcast, which I also haven't sung for ages.
No, haven't seen your jazz hands for a while now.
Now, talking of jazz hands...
There's no way you can segue that.
Well,
I cannot believe
jazz
that.
hands is a reference to a sort of a dance. Well, our wonderful Podsterons' fingers have been dancing across their keyboards to send us emails, which we collate into a little section that we call the Voice of the Podsterons.
This is the Voice of the Podsterons.
Are you ready for these?
I'm very excited.
Excellent. Well, Paige has got in touch. We like Paige. We met her back in Leicester, I think. And she's
Hello, Paige.
Very active on her social media accounts, telling everyone quite how much she loves the podcast, which we very much appreciate. Hello, everyone, says Paige. Just wanted to drop you a line to say how much I'm enjoying the new podcast format.
Oh, thank
I
goodness for that.
still listen to the podcast first thing on a Monday morning, and as I often revisit the pod during the week, it's lovely to be able to watch the podcast and see you all in person as well. Bye. It's nice, isn't it? It's great watching the Randomiser episode alongside Chris.
Hi, guys.
And I love the new opening titles and credits. Double the fun, says
Yes.
Peach. I find the quiz with guests to see how many Gerry Anderson shows they really know interesting, because it's not just about how many, but which shows they know.
Absolutely.
Like Nigel Planer remembering Twizzle. Yeah, that was a fun moment. He didn't even know that he remembered Twizzle until he sort of pulled it out of his brain. It's fun, isn't it? Anyway, says Peach, keep up the fab work. Smiley face.
We'll certainly try to, Pete.
Yeah.
Thanks. But lovely.
Yeah.
Again, Pete is an example of one of our lovely podsterons who is a relatively new addition to the
Stumbled
the
across
World of
us.
Anderson. Yeah, stumbled across us while sat on a sun lounger in her garden. Is that right? Am I remembering correctly?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know, where did you first stumble across the Gerry Anderson podcast? Email us at podcast@gerryanderson.com and put in the subject line, I stumbled across the podcast like this. And then let us know.
That's quite a long subject line, but okay.
Yeah, give them time to think.
Yeah, very good. I
All
look
right.
forward to hearing. I'm sure somebody wrote in once and said that they heard us while they were repairing a toilet, I think.
I think you might have dreamt that.
No, I'm sure that's true. If you were the toilet repairing podsteron, please do let us know. I've got one here from James.
Oh, yes.
Are you ready for it?
Well, are you going to read it or
Yeah,
just
I
look
am.
at
He
it?
says, hi, team.
Oh, that's us. Hi.
Yeah, hope you're all well.
Yeah, I'm all right, yeah.
Yeah, doing pretty well. Thanks very much. Been a little while since I've emailed and I wanted to get back into the swing of it.
Quite
well,
right.
welcome back into the swing, James. Firstly, loving the new vibe of the podcast with the video recording. Depending on where I am, depends on whether I just listen or watch.
Okay.
And I love having the option. Got a few people saying that.
Nice.
They listen to us and they
Yeah.
watch Chris, for example.
Yes, for example.
Anyway, James continues. Secondly, I wanted to give a special shout out to Louise from the Gerry Anderson store. She was always so helpful in sorting out an issue, in this case with my Stingray vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, well
Good.
done, Louise.
Yeah.
As I've always said and will continue to say to all that will listen, the Gerry Anderson store has the best customer service out there. So a big pat on the backs to those that work there.
Nice.
And a cheeky half day for them on Friday.
What?
James, I'm not sure we can sanction that, but
Just a minute.
it's a lovely thought.
Because people complain when their things don't arrive on time, and we can all blame James for giving them half a day off.
Yeah, thanks, James. You've spoiled somebody's weekend there. No, that is lovely. And yes, Louise is brilliant.
Yeah.
Louise and Tim and Michael and everybody else at the store.
Yep.
Lastly, 2 questions. Do you think it might be possible to continue the success of the Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet pistols with a Stingray pistol?
Ah, yes.
They are beautiful display pieces, and I would love more.
Right.
Even Space Precinct, perhaps?
Yeah.
Well, we've actually looked at those. Space Precincts are actually a bit tricky because it's so
Chunky.
like a firearm,
Ah.
like a real one.
Ah.
So that comes with problems in terms of shipping it worldwide. And the Stingray one, it's such a weird shape and proportion compared to a human hand. You look at Troy's giant hands and Stingray holding onto this very weird weapon. It's certainly on the list of maybes. Secondly, do you think the store could do some replica scripts?
Scripts?
Yeah, I love a good script. Just recently obtained a Space Precinct script called Graveyard, which Richard believes, allegedly,
excuse me.
was the original title to the episode Death Watch when
Indeed.
it was a single episode.
That's it.
Keep
That's
up
right.
the great work as always. All the best, James. We have also looked into replica scripts, actually. I've got a couple, I know they're less popular, but from year 2 of Space 1999.
Yeah.
And we were looking at ways of doing those. So
Okay.
I guess, Podsterons, what replica scripts would you like to see, if any?
Right.
And what about those would be important to you? Do you want them to be presented in exactly the same way
Yes.
as far as possible, including, the sort
The
of
script clips.
Yeah, exactly, and the green stickers
green
that would
stickers.
go on the kind
That's
of
it.
final versions for Space Precinct, all that sort of stuff. Do you want those? Email us, podcast@gerryanderson.com.
That would be great. I tell you what would be really nice. Yeah, just presented literally like a script. So no cover, not like a book, but just like a script.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also a call sheet
Yes.
for that, maybe the first day's work on that particular episode.
Yeah.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
But that's very nice, yes, if we can get that information.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that the sort of thing you want, Podsterons? Let us know.
Yeah. Hi, chaps. This is Sean Raven, who says, hope you're all keeping well. I recently treated myself to the 2 UFO audio dramas from Big Finish and loved them both. I'm just wondering, will there be more to come?
Well, I'm glad you like them, Sean.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a lot of fun on the second one in particular. We had a lot of drama there.
Oh, yes.
Family drama. Now, Nick Briggs wrote in Big Finish's magazine,
Oh, yeah,
Vortex, that there were no more UFOs coming.
Right.
I don't think that is necessarily true.
What?
I don't know. Why did you say that?
Fake news?
Maybe not fake news, but just not correct news. So I hope there will be more. We'd certainly like to do more, and I think the options are there to do more.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Right, could happen. Zero-X pilot Richard Goodborn has been in touch.
He has.
Hi, Jamie and Richard. I have to say, I'm enjoying the new video podcast
You're
format.
enjoying it. Have you just cut out all the ones that say, stop doing the videos, I don't want to see your faces?
Exactly. Looking forward to when another live podcast comes, which can show all the Podsterons in the audience, especially after the hijinks at Brit Sci-Fi. Cough, Chris Dale.
Chris Dale.
Yeah. I still get an earworm of you two singing the Newsy News Happy Birthday song, of which I have no memory at all.
Newsy news.
Right. Will there be an EP of Richard, Jamie and Chris doing Anderson themes in the same a cappella Newsy News style? Could be onto a bestseller. I think we know the answer to that.
I'm just trying to think of which ones we could do, yeah.
No, let's move on.
Yeah, to Marina, I Wish I Was a Spaceman. We can do all of those, all with just Newsy News. It'd be amazing.
Maybe it could be a charity release, couldn't it?
Yeah.
He then goes on to say, anyway, moving over to my sensible question.
Oh, I see.
In pod 269, Chris and Richard mentioned on the randomizer that if Kamada, the second best Space Precinct villain...
That's true, he is.
No, wasn't just the second best... Oh, yeah, he was the best, second best.
Second best, yeah.
Was created today, he potentially would have had an open-ended demise to be able to come back in another episode or story arc. The episode Body and Soul did exactly that, whereby Alden Hume's hologram survived to hint that he will come after Matt Brogan again. Was it intended that Humes would come back if Series 2 happened? Or just simply Gerry inadvertently thought about bringing in story arcs if Space Precinct was renewed? Many thanks, SIG SPA. Richard Goodborn.
Gosh. I doubt that they were thinking about putting serial elements in because there's just too many issues at the time for broadcast TV, particularly for the Americans.
Yes, that's right.
So I think it was just to leave a little bit of a shiver for you at the end, I guess.
Bit of ambiguity, I think that's right.
Yeah, makes it more fun sometimes.
Yeah. I suspect if there had been a second series, we might have revisited one or two.
Oh,
I mean, they all pretty comprehensively, apart from Alden Humes, died. I mean, Kamada was sort of sent off into deleted.
And I'm not sure
and
the snake survived that.
But there could be others of his race, you know.
That's true.
Who's to say he was the only snake?
There should have been many more snakes, right? All these one-off aliens, you can't expect that they just exist out of nowhere. They must have had a mummy and daddy snake. I mean,
exactly.
It's very sad, really, for mummy and daddy snake.
I think you're going a bit too much into the psychology of the character. I don't think the writers really thought that was the way to go.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Anyway, all for now. What another bulging postbag we've had. So let's keep it bulging by sending in more emails to podcast@gerryanderson.com, and we'll probably read them out next time.
Or in a few podcasts' time, because now you've revealed how we record.
That's true. There's a bit of a gap, so be patient.
Yeah. Good. What happens now?
Well, isn't it time for something else?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what the thing is. That's the problem.
Well, listen, let's think it through. We've done Fab Facts.
Yeah.
We've done news, and we've done the Podsterons.
Yeah.
So that means it must be time for our special guest.
Special blooming guest.
Ready for this?
Yes.
It's time to celebrate the forthcoming Thunderbirds Day the only way we know how, in style, with the voice of Lady Penelope herself. She'll also be known to Anderson aficionados as Nero Jones in First Action Bureau, and to Big Finish fans as any number of characters from their audio adventures. But there's so much more to her than that, as we're about to find out. It's Genevieve Gaunt! Well, who better to join us at the Gerry Anderson Podcast for Thunderbirds Day than Lady Penelope herself?
It's a pleasure to be here.
I mean, that sends a shiver down my spine. I don't know about you at home. Genevieve, something of a Renaissance woman, I would say. Actor, writer, podcaster.
That's very kind of you to say so. I dabble in different things.
And where are you happiest, do you think?
I like doing all of these things. So, yes, I'm an actress and a voiceover artist, and I write a little. I write book reviews and other journalistic pursuits, and I'm very, very lucky to have written my first Thunderbirds episode. So
yes.
I do act and write. I think they all complement each other beautifully.
And was that always going to be the case, do you think? Have you always been something of a magpie personality, taking things left, right and centre wherever you find them?
No, I think these opportunities came my way. So you mentioned a podcast. I made a podcast in 2021 that I was able to record, edit, and produce myself over lockdown but it tied into all the voice work. So I got a home studio over the pandemic, and that was a baptism of fire from a technology perspective.
Yes.
And I learned a lot, and I was editing and my own stuff for work. And so I thought, oh my God, I have all these recordings of interviews I'd done. I can edit them and produce them into a podcast myself. And that podcast led to writing book reviews for The Spectator and working for a film and culture magazine called A Rabbit's Foot. And I think that was probably why AC said, do you want to write for us?
Okay.
So it kind of all
Yeah.
happened at the same time.
It's interesting, isn't it? That, awful period for a lot of people, those couple of years. But certainly in the audio world, everyone was stuck at home wanting ways to escape from this terrible situation. And I think there was something of a boom in audiobooks and audio drama.
It was amazing. I actually had it was difficult, but I had a fantastic experience doing all the voice work. And I did we did First Action Bureau on over the airwaves.
Yes.
And the first Thunderbirds was home studio. And yes, audiobooks and other jobs that I did, but it was such escapism. I mean, for me, when we could only just kind of walk around and wear masks and stuff, listening to audiobooks and audio dramas was just such lovely escapism, or podcasts, or lots of different types of podcasts. And so recording them and listening to them myself as a consumer was real escapism.
And it's quite a personal thing, isn't it? Being a producer of a podcast, we found this on the Gerry Anderson podcast, that people tell us even now that, I'm not saying we got them through the pandemic, but it was certainly something that helped in those difficult times. And as a producer of podcasts, that's quite a responsibility, isn't it? You're going into someone's life, in a way, to change it, potentially for the better. What was your ambition for the podcast?
My podcast that I made. So my podcast was a limited series of 7 episodes, and it's called The Cupid Couch, and it's about love, sex, and relationships. I wanted to see how this issue of love has changed or not changed throughout the ages, because it seems to be something that, like death, taxes, and love, it's something that people are either looking for, or mourning a loss of, maybe a breakup. And so I started to research the history of love, sex, and relationships, and then I interviewed people in the present day. And so the podcast is a mashup between the past and the present. It was an amazing experience for me as a friend too, because I interviewed people who I thought I knew incredibly well, and I learned so much more. So that was a very especially personal experience, because I didn't talk about my own life on the podcast, so I was dealing with other people's, sometimes incredibly personal, intimate, funny, frightening, violent stories. Yeah. Suicide and lots of difficult stories in there. So I really had to listen and tread very carefully, and it was a real antidote as well to being an actress, where, like in this is lovely being interviewed, but I'm the person being interviewed, and it was a pleasure. So that's why I like writing book reviews. It's a pleasure to turn the camera away, or turn the microphone away, and focus on other people as well.
Right, yes, which as an actor we don't often get the opportunity to do, because we want the focus to be all about us, don't we?
Well, I mean, to be honest, actually, doing voices, I find another form of escapism, because it's not about me or Genevieve at all. It's about inhabiting someone else.
Great. And we'll talk about all that, of course, this week and next week, and your glittering career, not only in the worlds of Anderson, but beyond as well. And of course, now you're part of that, it seems, never-ending story, that long legacy of shows and productions with your Lady Penelope in Thunderbirds, of course. And I believe you were also Dr. Venus in Fireball XL5.
Yeah, I am.
So there's 2 of those titles that you're intimately involved with. How does that feel?
Fabulous. One, I mean, they're beautiful characters with lovely, iconic voices.
Yeah.
I think when I knew... So the development of Lady Penelope in the new Thunderbirds audio drama series that we do wasn't necessarily always as straightforward as it seems now.
Right.
Because I don't know if Jamie will let me say this, but over the pandemic, he actually sent me some stories that I was maybe going to narrate. And as fans will know, the voice of Lady Penelope post Sylvia Anderson has been maybe more naturalised or closer to the actresses who've played them.
Right.
And then when the audio drama series started to happen and I saw that John Coleshaw was playing Parker, I thought, John's going to do Parker as the original.
Yes.
And that's when I completely went from an automatic car into a manual and had to find the gears to find the voice of Lady Penelope.
Interesting.
So I love doing Dr. Venus and Lady Penelope and all these parts because there's something so special about the voice quality of those parts.
So you're, I suppose, is it fair to say you're essentially recreating the voices? I think it was Lois Maxwell and, of course, Sylvia Anderson. But was there room for Genevieve Gaunt in there as well, vocally?
I think you can't help but put yourself in there somewhere. But it really is an homage to the originals, and I just try and do the best that I can. Do the best that I can do.
Absolutely.
But we get a lot of opportunities to create voices for other characters, and I don't know if listeners will be quite so aware maybe of all the other voices that we do in the audio drama.
Go on.
Episodes. Well, we just do so many.
Yes.
They'll be like, can you do Russian, or can you do French, or can you do
I find
Canadian?
That's one of the thrills of doing it. And you've done a lot of work with Big Finish, and I've worked with you a couple of times there. And I quite like those moments where the director literally says, "Oh, we need a third corporal." Genevieve.
Yeah.
And you have to think, well, what voice am I going to use now? One that I haven't used already.
Yeah.
Where do I go?
Exactly.
And that's quite fun. Tell us, if you would, something of your early life and ambitions, because I understand acting is in the blood, could we say?
Yes. So my mother and my father were actors. My father's still an actor. My mother was an actress, and then she became an agent. So it was definitely in the family.
And many of our guests tell us how their families try to actively not put them off, but were perhaps indifferent to their ambitions in the acting world. But I guess you had more encouragement than others.
Yes, I think it was just always there. I as a child, I kind of put myself forward to do plays and things like that. I wasn't cowering.
Yeah.
Behind a teacher. I was kind of very happy to engage and to go into that world of make-believe. I absolutely loved it. And when the casting for Harry Potter came around my school, I just joined secondary school. I was 11. And when they put the casting notice out, I didn't actually fit the brief, but I went along anyway, just to say hello. And I'd actually just done a short film that summer, and I said, can I audition?
Right.
And so, I think back at that, and how did I have that confidence to go? To be honest, you do actually have more confidence when you're a child than as an adult.
Absolutely, that's right.
But yeah, so my mum was very keen that I went to drama school or university, and to stay with some form of study.
Yeah.
Because she knew how hard it could be as well.
So I guess Harry Potter was a very formative experience for you. This was the Prisoner of Azkaban, is that right? And has that sort of put you in touch with the fandom of the Harry Potter franchise? And did that sort of prepare you with dealings you might have with the Gerry Anderson fan base now?
So, yes, The Prisoner of Azkaban it came out in 2004. So the books had already been around. So I was a huge fan of the books. The Harry Potter set was the most artistic and professional machine that I've ever come across, probably ever will.
Amazing.
The Warner Brothers team and Leavesden Studios was quite magical. The hippogriff in that third Harry Potter was, an animatronics hippogriff. It's extraordinary. It was amazingly, formative.
Yeah. But not your first experience as an actor, I'm guessing. You mentioned a short film, but do you remember also your first inkling, perhaps on a stage or in front of a camera, where you thought, I'm home. This is perhaps where I belong or where I want to build a career?
I think I always felt that.
Yeah.
Then I went to university, and my university had a really good drama scene, and I did loads of plays. I did Strindberg, Shakespeare. We toured with Shakespeare in the summer holidays. I did another Stephen Sondheim musical Assassins at the Edinburgh Fringe, just 10 different shows over 3 years, doing loads of different styles, and that was my first opportunity really to. I mean, I'd done like little bits of TV when I was a teenager, but that was my first opportunity to really see this is what a playtext is. This is how you kind of act and approach things and work with a company and do that whole process. And then I got an agent who saw me on stage at 20 or whatever, doing plays.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, okay, because it's that transition from a child actor to an actor. You sometimes think, am I actually? Should I do this?
Really? Right.
Yeah. And then an amazing agent, Dallas Smith, came to see me, and he wanted to take me on. So I thought, okay.
And that's affirmation in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think. Yeah.
You spoke there about working, having a company feel on the Warner Brothers set and so on. I know you also have recorded many audiobooks and have won an award, I believe.
I've won 2 audiobook awards actually. Yeah, one for The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell.
Yeah.
And another one for The Memory of Animals by Claire Fuller.
So how does that feel? I guess you're on your own, or you have a producer or a director.
So audiobooks are a brilliant experience. It's you and a sound engineer, director, producer in one. They are brilliant people who can direct and do the sound at the same time. And it's like a double chamber, so you're divided by a glass wall, so you can see each other.
Yeah.
Like you are in studio. And I'm not a runner, but if I was going to use a running analogy, sometimes doing an audio drama can feel like a 5K, 10K. Doing an audiobook is like a half marathon, depending on how long it is. So The Marriage Portrait was 120,000 words over 3 days. And it's just you speaking. Yeah. So, and you're doing the different voices and you're researching pronunciation. And I learned so much from the books that I do, because you go, what's that? And you learn about all kinds of subjects. With the audio drama too. Yeah. You learn about so many things that otherwise, you wouldn't necessarily look up. Yeah. But yes, it's probably... People often ask me this actually, like, how long do you record for? A general kind of normal size book, 300 pages, would be a 3-day record, 10 till 5, with breaks. Mm-hmm. So if you take away the breaks, you're talking for maybe 6 hours a day.
Yeah, sure.
But it's vocal gym, and it's great for it's good for the soul, and it's wonderful.
And you get to know that book intimately, I suppose, of course.
Yeah, there's nothing like reading something out loud.
Yeah. That's right. I asked you, before you came to join us today, about your first Anderson memory. Let's have a look at what you chose.
Okay.
Really, Parker, I appreciate your efficiency, but isn't morning tea at 2 o'clock rather overdoing things?
Begging your pardon.
That's me and John at Buckingham Palace.
I have brought no cup and saucer for your ladyship. The teapot is the operative thing, my lady.
I get your point, Parker. A call for me. Thank you.
Lady Penelope from International Rescue. Father wants to speak to you.
Good morning, Alan. How are you? Top of the world, of course. Please, put your father through.
Listen, Penny. We believe the Thunderbird 1 has crash-landed on Dartmoor.
Oh, is Scott all right?
That's what we don't know.
I look very serious
We're
there.
not even sure he's there. We haven't heard from him in over 2 hours. And the last time we did, he was down a well in a derelict fort in the middle of the Gobi Desert.
Good heavens, Jeff. How your boys do get around.
Terror from the Stars.
Yep.
Thunderbirds. It's not unique, but quite rare to have someone who chooses their first appearance in an Anderson show as their first memory. So that would suggest to me that you didn't have much knowledge of the worlds of Gerry Anderson before this happened.
No, so I mean, the Tracy boys, Penelope and Parker, Fab 1, are iconic. I think everyone knows those images, whether or not they even know where it comes from. Thunderbirds is pretty iconic anyway. So I was aware of all of that, but I didn't know the Gerry Anderson kind of universe well. So, but the paradox is that then I had, I was so lucky because I got to go and watch all the episodes.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
That's right. 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just so taken with the with the beauty and the comedy and the magic and the visual. It's just glorious.
I was going to say, how did it strike you? It's interesting coming across someone who's just discovered.
That's what I mean. It's like, I felt like 100 Christmases have come at once.
Yeah.
I think it's stunning. I think they hold up beautifully.
And just talk us through the story about how Lady Penelope came to you then.
Okay, so my first Big Finish job was 2017. I was a Russian astronaut with Chris Dale.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been working with Nicholas Briggs in Big Finish, and Jamie Anderson had directed me in a couple of Doctor Who audio dramas. And so Jamie said, do you want to do Lady Penelope? But it was, as I said before, about the voice thing. That was really interesting, trying to find that voice, because I was listening to Sylvia Anderson do Lady Penelope over and over and over and over again. And I was trying to tap into it, and I couldn't quite get it. There was something missing, and then I realised what it was. And I wonder if anyone listening to this can immediately think, what was it? Can you imagine what it was?
I could imagine what it might be.
I mean, what do you think?
It's the weak R, is it?
It is. It's the woolly R. The trials and tribulations. It's yeah. I don't know if Sylvia Anderson herself had a woolly R.
Right.
But it's so iconic,
Yeah.
and that just somehow helped me get into it, and also the cool for danger feeling about her.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that Terror from the Stars was recorded remotely, so everyone was in their own homes or wherever during the pandemic. How much easier was it when you finally got into a studio with the cast after COVID and you were able to record these things together? Was that easier for you?
It's more pleasurable. It's more fun. You can bounce off each other more, and we all get on so well. It's truly the loveliest team. I mean, a more talented group of people you probably wouldn't come across, and so kind and so lovely, and I love them all dearly. And John and I have become great friends. So the first time we worked together was remotely, so I couldn't even see him.
Yeah.
And I was terrified.
Right.
I mean, you're working with John Coleshaw.
I know.
I could barely speak. I'm glad I wasn't actually. No one could see me probably, because I was terrified. I mean, I went over that script.
Yeah.
I think I knew all the lines. I probably didn't even need the script. I went over it so many times.
I mean, not only are you working with John Coleshaw, but you're also having to be something of an impressionist yourself opposite John Coleshaw.
Yeah. But actually, it's funny. As soon as we started the script, it just felt so special.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah. You seem to hang out an awful lot.
We do.
You obviously enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. We get on so well. He's been up at the Edinburgh Fringe. He was doing 2 shows a day, because
extraordinary. Yes.
Yeah, doing a play, and then doing an hour of impressions and stand up.
Of course.
The talent of that man is. Yeah.
That's right.
And I went up to see him, and and I think you showed that photograph of us. We went to Buckingham Palace because John was working for the Duke of Edinburgh scheme, and I was wearing this suit.
You were, appropriately.
And John's Barber jacket looked like a kind of Parker thing. So we were like, we've just come as Lady Penelope and Parker. But yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Now, we've got some questions from our lovely viewers and listeners who've been posting them on our Facebook group. So I wonder if I could tempt you just to reach in there and take a little question.
A little rubbish. What is this?
That looks like a double header there.
Ooh. So this is from John Jackson. What was it like doing Macbeth? I paused there, thinking, are we in a theatre? What was it like doing Macbeth for radio with David Tennant? That was fantastic. That was for BBC Radio 4. Did that April 2022.
Okay.
It was fantastic. Originally, it was directed and produced by Clive Brill. It was originally an all-Scottish production. I'm half Dutch, half Scottish.
Yes.
So I came in to do my Scottish.
Yes.
I was a witch and the gentlewoman, which I did with Richard Wilson.
Oh,
the
wow.
outdam spot scene and the gentlewoman. It was a wonderful experience. And David Tennant is the most dexterous, brilliant actor. He was just whizzing off the Shakespeare like it was like second nature, and incredibly kind and just a great person to work with.
Done much Shakespeare?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, I have. I then did Twelfth Night for BBC Radio 4 in February.
Yeah.
I was Olivia. Weirdly,
Great.
I'd played Olivia in a touring production around Japan.
Right.
Which I did when I was a student. We also did Antony and Cleopatra.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think if I've done any Shakespeare on stage. I should know the answer. I mean,
Only you will know.
No, I think I'd like to do more, but yeah, I love Shakespeare. Who doesn't? This is a good question. Is Bluebell a rag doll? Do you know who Bluebell is, Richard?
I might have an inkling who Bluebell is.
Bluebell is my cat.
Yes.
Is Bluebell a rag doll, and do you let it out? We have a rag doll and only let him out supervised. Well, John Jackson, this is a very, very, very good question. Because, oh my God, like the end of a Scooby-Doo episode.
Oh, yes?
I don't think Bluebell is a rag doll. Yeah.
It was the janitor all along.
Yeah, I think she's a Siberian because I got her thinking that I need an indoor cat. I don't have a garden. I need an indoor cat. She's a rag doll, and I don't think she is because then I took her to my mum's place, garden, and this cat wanted to go out, and so I very tentatively let her out, thinking, is this safe?
Yeah.
She took I was going to say like a duck to water. It's a bit odd, but she was so happy, anyway, I looked up. It's a Neva masquerade, is the subbreed of the breed of Siberian, and I think she's one of those.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think she is a pure ragdoll. I think I was
there you go.
conned.
Duped. Never mind. Take another question.
This is from Hugh Porter. What was your favourite childhood show when you were growing up, and why? Did it by any chance influence you to start voice acting and professional acting?
Interesting. So what were you watching as a child?
I was obsessed with films as a kid. And I think because my mum was an actor, we had all kinds of films that I probably shouldn't have been watching.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I watched them too young.
Yeah.
You know? Like Jaws.
Right.
Way, way too young.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change this question because it's not, I don't remember a childhood show. I mean, my mum, my parents will tell me, but I definitely know that I watched E.T. until it broke.
Ah, really?
Couldn't tear me away.
Yeah, sure.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Which is, it's in the Gerry Anderson wheelhouse of...
Yes.
Yeah. Of,
sure.
Of unidentified flying objects.
That's right.
So, yes, I think all these things definitely influence you. The magic of cinema, definitely.
And so, was there a part of you that even subconsciously thought, well, I want to be able to inhabit that world, maybe create some of that magic or feel that magic, to be part of something like that? Or are you not aware of a particular moment where you had a feeling like that?
No, a kind of Damascene moment.
Yeah.
No. I think because my parents were also in the business, they were maybe more, more realistic about it. You know, Mum's always been like, learn your lines and don't bump into the furniture.
Good
There's
advice.
never been any space for,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
time for a couple more.
These are great questions.
Aren't they?
They're fantastic questions.
Yes.
This is Morty Vicker. Your reimagining of Penelope's voice reaches another level completely. That's very sweet. Did it just occur to you in a flash, or was it a result of much workshopping? Was it based on one or many particular influences? Well, we kind of talked about this, about finding the woolly R. It's also a case of looking at voices from that period. It's a very particular style of...
the delivery and so on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But really listening to Sylvia Anderson do it over and over and over again.
Was it also, can I ask, more of a collaborative effort as well? I mean, was there input from the directors you were working with? And
Or doing Lady Penelope?
Yeah. Are you happy if they were to say, oh, just a minute, I think that sounds not quite right, or has that not happened?
So Sam Clemens has directed every Thunderbirds thing we've done. He's fantastic. He's not yet said, he's not tweaked it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's lovely about Jamie and about Sam.
Yeah.
And about AC, that if it's great, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So, but if they did say, "Ooh, just do this," actually, I was working with Sam. I don't think I can say what it is yet, but it was a Doctor Who.
Okay.
And the voice, we worked on a particular voice, and so he really helped me. It was quite tricky. He'd help me with the kind of like a sound mixer.
Yes.
You know, he'd be like, can you that there? So he's on it, but we haven't needed to do it with
Penelope. Yeah,
with Penelope.
Yeah.
Shall I open?
Carry on. Yeah.
This is Richard Goodborn. Would you prefer to play Lady Penelope or Nero Jones in a live action role? So Nero Jones is from Fab 1. She's a kind of tough, no nonsense, tank top wearing babe, and of course we know who Lady Penelope is. There's already the Lady Penelope in the Thunderbirds 2004 movie.
Yeah.
Played beautifully. Of course, do I have to choose?
Yes, you do. Yes, you must.
Ooh. Probably Lady Penelope.
Oh, really? Fair enough.
Yeah. How can I resist the blonde?
Yeah.
The blonde wig.
Yeah.
And
One more then.
One more. I want to answer all of them.
Well, we'll have time next week as well.
What's these ones? This is Steve Bushell. Do you have any voice warm-up techniques? And if so, what do you do? Asking for a friend. I do. My poor neighbours.
Oh, really?
My poor neighbours. Driving in the car is very good for this. I do. I listen to an album on Spotify called Jacob's Vocal Academy.
Oh, right.
And there are other vocal kind of warm-up albums on there.
Yeah.
And I just, do my lip trills and my umming and my ahhing and, and I sing, which helps me warm up.
So you seem very at home in front of a mic and in front of a camera and on stage. I know you toured very briefly to Belfast with a show about the Titanic, I think. Are there different techniques required for each individual medium, or are they much of the same?
There are crossovers. They of course have they're all different disciplines. I don't know. I think voice acting, I think, is weirdly quite a visual medium.
Yes, I would agree, having seen you work.
See me?
Yeah, it's actually...
Jumping up and down and
that's right.
Doing everything. Yeah, I think we see it. And I think if you see it, somehow it registers here.
Yes, it's interesting seeing actors just taking a different stance, if they're playing a particular character.
How do you feel?
I absolutely agree that you have to kind of inhabit it with your body, even though it'll never be seen. Otherwise, you can't get what you're after. But it gives you that absolute freedom. You can imagine yourself to be a 20-stone trucker or a yeti or a penguin. You can just imagine it. And if you can imagine it and sort of inhabit it, then you can vocalise it.
Yeah. I think doing Lady Penelope, I think I do hold myself a little bit like the Super Mario Nation.
Yes.
I think I do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There you go. Great. Oh, now, that klaxon means it's time for your quick fire 5. Now, nothing to worry about. I'm going to ask you 5 questions with 2 answers. There's no right or wrong, but I want you to choose the answer that you think sounds the most fun or appropriate. So, you ready for these?
Okay.
Genevieve Gaunt, your quick fire 5. A day in a sound booth or a night on the stage?
Stage.
A trip to the stars in Fireball XL5 or a trip to Slough in Fab 1?
Oh, Fireball XL5.
Podcasting. Do you prefer being the interviewer or interviewee?
Definitely interviewer.
Brains or Parker?
Parker.
Now, you've been recruited to Spectrum from Captain Scarlet, but you need to pick a colour from the Dulux colour range. So, are you Captain Calming Meadow or Lieutenant Intense Truffle?
Oh, Calming Meadow, I think. I think Intense Truffle sounds quite frightening.
It does, right? There you go. That's a quick fire 5. You see, I told you it wouldn't hurt at all. Now, just before we go, is there anywhere our viewers and listeners can follow you on social media or websites?
Yes, I'm on. I was going to say I'm on Twitter, but what do we say now?
We're saying X.
We're on X.
Or Twitter, or
Genevieve W. Gaunt, and my Instagram is Genevieve_Gaunt.
Great. And we look forward to you joining us next time if you fancy another trip back to Slough in your pink suit.
I certainly do. I will get it ready.
Thank you very much. It's Genevieve Gaunt, everybody. Lady Penelope joining us for Thunderbirds Day.
She's so lovely.
And what's more, she'll be back next week.
Oh, well, that's doubly good news.
Isn't that great? Straddling Thunderbirds Day.
As she should.
As only she can.
Yeah.
Yes, the wonderful Genevieve Gaunt, voice of Lady Penelope. Let us know if you've heard the new, I say new, I mean, we're going back a bit now, aren't we? 2 or 3 years?
We've been doing them for a while now.
Thunderbirds Adventures, and let us know what you think of them. I bet none of you have a bad word to say about them. And there's my challenge.
Please write in and say bad words about the Thunderbirds audios. Richard, this is not the angle we're supposed to be taking.
No, you're right. Now, are you on Facebook, Jamie?
I'm actually not on Facebook.
But if you were, would you be tempted to join our Facebook group?
The first place I would go to on Facebook would be facebook.com/groups/Podsterons.
Excellent. Just like Farah Shimbo, who posted this recently, watching the latest podcast, 275.
That was the latest,
yeah,
wasn't it?
where Chris Dale is wondering if being called a dude was an insult.
You dude.
Yeah, this is from Four Feather Falls episode that he watched in the Randomiser. Well, up until surf culture came in, 1965 or so, yes, it was. In Brooklyn, where I grew up, dude meant a hick or a yokel. Elsewhere, it meant someone who was inept, helplessly or totally out of their depth. Nowadays, it usually refers to another person in a number of contexts, though to all us old bats, a dude is still just someone who thinks they can, but shows clearly that they can't. Oh dear, this is cutting quite close to home, isn't it?
I'm not saying a word.
Also, as far as what I'd like to see more of, more supercar.
More what of supercar?
I think just generally. Maybe in the Randomiser.
Okay.
But, we're not in charge of that because, of course, it's random.
Yeah.
And it really is random. I know we had a few comments about the arrival, the appearance of a Space 1999 episode as Anton Phillips joined us.
It's just chance, though, isn't it?
It was just chance.
But in all, there's lots of episodes of Space, so chances are it's more likely to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, see what Alex Patrick has been up to. Read the next one.
Allegedly, Alex Patrick has been rating every episode of Thunderbirds ahead of Thunderbirds Day, which makes perfect sense.
Yep.
And he says, kicking off the countdown is, to no one's surprise, give or take 1 million. It has its moments, but they're not enough to make up for the lack of anything going on. That's a bit harsh.
Yes.
In fact, I had more fun brainstorming the story possibilities its setup had to offer than the episode itself.
Right.
This episode has a tendency to make you feel like something is going to go wrong, only for it not to, and just move on to the next plot point.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The gratuitous Thunderbird 3 launch is accompanied by a tense score, only for it to suddenly turn triumphant. The build-up of the Christmas rocket test launch does this too, and Dr. Lang even says to the nurse before she opens the container, it isn't going to blow up, which almost makes me wish it had.
Right.
A bit harsh.
Yes, isn't it?
Why not have something go wrong on the test so that Harmon would have to try and adjust it for the real launch? Then if something went wrong again, it would give us a very Thunderbirds-esque scenario of a renegade rocket.
Yeah.
Seriously, what an unfortunately terrible note for the series to go out on.
Yes, wow. It's interesting. I've loved reading Alex's reviews, actually. They are very forensic, and I think he did say at the beginning that he felt Thunderbirds was the more sort of up and down
really
of all
variable,
the Gerry
right?
Anderson
Yeah,
series.
I remember him saying.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough.
It is.
But Mark Perkins replied, well, I can add to the disappointment of this episode.
Oh, wow.
As I watched its first broadcast, ITV had saved it for their Christmas TV schedule, so anticipation was high as I thought it might herald the start of a new series. There was no way of knowing that this was the last one until eventually I realised that Captain Scarlet was coming, so there wouldn't be any more episodes. The cinema film of Thunderbird 6 was no consolation, as it disappeared from the cinema before I had the chance to watch it.
Gosh.
Yeah.
In a day when things would just disappear and
That's
you had
it.
no way of
You literally
seeing
thought that
it
was
again.
it. Yeah, that's right.
God, it seems so alien now, doesn't
Absolutely.
it? Now we've got this.
Yeah, why didn't you just head to
easy
ITVX
access.
and just watch it again?
Yeah, exactly. We'll get yourself a DVD. I mean, yes, obviously, we know why.
Yeah, we do, yeah. Dave Lawson.
Yes.
Thank you to the Gerry Anderson store, Louise and staff for the prompt delivery of my Joe 90 technical manual.
Oh, it's a lovely book,
Yeah.
even for those who are less enamoured with Joe 90.
Yes. I spent the day with my best mates on a typical Wednesday, the happy hour stack, and sporting the only Space 1999 shirt that I have. And later, I'm having a bit of chocolate because he's celebrating Breakaway Day.
Of course.
That's right, a few weeks back. There you go.
Very nice. Roger Morgan
Yeah.
shared a screenshot.
Oh, yeah.
You know the TV show Pointless?
I'm aware of it.
Have you been on it?
No, but I have a friend who's been on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too.
Oh, all right.
Showing off now.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you abroad, it's essentially looking for the least likely answer to a question, and ideally where no member of the general public has answered that question, and you score the most, right? So
Still has to be a correct answer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has to be correct. You can't just say anything random. It has to be a
yeah.
correct answer, but the lowest and rarest answer, I suppose.
That's very good, yeah.
So they had a Thunderbirds round on Pointless recently.
Yes.
And Roger said Pointless is just easy now.
Oh, right.
So which of these do you think was the least answered question?
Okay.
The colour of Lady Penelope's Rolls Royce.
Right.
The surname of Jeff and his 5 sons.
Okay.
The decade the original TV series was first broadcast. The nickname of the character, also known as Hiram Hackenbacker, who wears large blue glasses.
Yeah.
And the series was filmed on trading estate in this Berkshire town.
Right, okay. Well, I'm guessing the last one would have been the lowest answer.
I think so too. Now, of course, from the screenshot on the script,
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the answer. But if you did watch that episode of Pointless, do email us, let us know which one it was. But I'm sure it would be that. But it's funnily enough, that's where we are right now.
It is, you're right, yes.
We
just around the
record
corner.
at the Moxie Hotel in
Absolutely
Slough.
right, yes, exactly right. Yeah, thanks for that, Roger. That's very good. I mean, Thunderbirds and the Gerry Anderson shows in general crop up on quiz shows with alarming regularity, more than they crop up on the Gerry Anderson podcast, I would say.
Could be right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Keep them coming in. Post on our Facebook group. Next week, we'll be taking a saunter over to our YouTube channel to see what people have been commenting below some recent videos.
Oh, okay. I've seen a couple of comments there that a bit fruity, actually.
Well, I'm not going to be reading those out, obviously.
No, okay, fair enough.
No, they're for my own personal usage. Now, in the meantime, it's time to do something really random.
Is it random?
Well,
I mean, the content is it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see what Genevieve Gaunt managed to dredge up from the depths of Chris Dale's Randomiser.
I can't wait.
Genevieve, my dear, thank you for joining me today on the Randomiser so far.
I'm not Genevieve. I don't know who that person is. I am the Duchess of Royston, and you are clearly my cousin.
Oh, jolly good. Well, I'm glad I know who I am now. Anyway, you may have heard of this remarkable contraption.
I have.
Yes, indeed. It's called the Randomiser.
The Randomiser?
Indeed. You press the button, and it'll give you an episode of the Gerry Anderson series.
Oh, I love a red button.
It's
very
like
tempting.
gambling. But less for
Like gambling? Like gambling? I love gambling, I do.
Indeed.
Oh, tell me where. Take all of my money.
You may press that button there.
Now?
Or in a minute. But you can do it now. It would help. Since
I think I'll do it now.
You'll do it now.
Oh!
Yes, now you see it's whirling through the series.
Whirring.
Oh, I see.
Like a roulette wheel.
It has come to a series known as The Protectors. And the episode we have today
is Wham!
Wham!
Oh, I love George Michael. I do.
I do as
now,
well.
my dear.
And it's Wham! Part 1.
Wham! Part 1.
We also have Part 2 at some point.
How lovely.
Until then, shall we go and get a tipple in the bar?
I think we should. I've already had a few, apparently.
Jolly good.
Yes. Jolly
Toodle
good.
pip.
Oh, toodle.
So, we welcome back to the Randomiser. It's the Protectors. But who's this? We may recognise that actor from a different Anderson series. It's Prentice Hancock, looking very stylish and very dapper, as we embark on the first episode of the only two-part story of the Protectors. And I've got to say, going in, I'm surprised they didn't do more of this, because I just think the two-part format gives this story so much more time to breathe. And also this episode, one of the highlights of this episode, is this gorgeous mountain scenery. Another highlight is one of the best incidental scores that was ever composed for this series. There's some lovely, beautiful, stuff to match the visuals here, but later on we get some very funky stuff as well, so stand by for funk. But yes, Prentice is surveying the cable car. Uh-oh. Now, in any other show, I would say, okay, that's the point. They've doomed themselves now. International Rescue are going to have to be called out. But not on the Protectors. Oh, my goodness, that is high. But again, it just looks so nice. And it's such to the show's benefit that they were able to film on location like this. As indeed Prentice is here, taking lots of sneaky photos of important things. I love the Protectors opening titles. The contrast between action shots lifted from other productions, coupled with Robert Vaughn just getting ready for the day. It really shouldn't work, and yet somehow it does. Always good stuff. And we're going to now visit another recurring character on the Protectors. We may have mentioned him several times. Him has also been her previously. The recurring character trope of concerned parent, Rich Bags McMunnington. And it was a common trope only in the second series, really, of characters coming to the Protectors who were A, quite wealthy, and B, were concerned about their offspring. And believe it or not, I think we've still got like 3 or 4 more stories to get through featuring concerned parent Rich Bags McMunnington. And I recognise this actor, I don't know the name. He was obviously in lots of things. I remember him mostly from Survivors. But his daughter has fallen into bad company, and the daughter is played by, that's one daughter, another daughter there, Jill Townsend. The picture froze there, I'm not sure what that was about. Yes, actress Jill Townsend, who would later go on to play Sahala in the Space 1999 episode Dorzak. But here's what I meant with the other style of music in this episode, the very funky music. And there is a lot of walking around in this episode, and part 2. So it's great that there's this incredible music to listen to. I find this, I may have said this before, the Protectors soundtrack from Network, if you can find it, is just a joy to listen to. There's so much listenable music on there. I mean, this is... Woman's buying a ticket for a train and she's got some change and she's walking away. Why have we got such funky music? But we do. And this music was, some of it, I think this track is one of them, was used in The Investigator for one of the many scenes of that great big red car roaring around Medina, scaring passers-by. But here we go. There's been a bit of a switch. And yes, where are we heading? Unlike many International Protectors episodes, this is one I do remember and remember quite well, but I haven't seen it for a while, so please bear with me if it seems like I don't know what's going on. Oddly enough, I feel like I've seen part 2 more than I have part 1, because whenever I seem to catch it on ITV4, it's always Wham! Part 2, oddly enough. So, Jill Townsend has got to make a phone call to presumably her boyfriend, if not partner in crime. There he is, Prentice Hancock. And I feel, I just see him and I think, Paul Morrow. I don't know to what extent this role would have got him the part in Space 1999, but it's got to have been, some factor.
Hello.
Ah.
Did you get my cable?
So he doesn't have to do the fake accent with her.
Yes. Everything's fine.
Just fine. He's a mister on. There's that glorious music again. But I also love all of this location filming in this episode. It's also, as much as it's lovely to look at, it's also a lovely time capsule of that period. And while Harry's back at the pad with the Contessa, Paul's out there doing all the work.
Where to? I checked with the booking clerk. Vienna, single. One way, huh?
Vienna.
Yeah, listen, that's not all.
I went to Vienna once.
Trains from Salzburg.
Salzburg. I haven't been there yet.
Well, why don't you get on a train and follow her to Vienna? I'll fly out and pick up her tail from there. Okay?
I love it. The unlimited expenses of the Protectors.
Like the change you've seen.
Like Salzburg?
Why not?
And because this is a double-length episode, the story just has more time to breathe, and there are some more nice character moments. We're not in a rush, A, to explain what's going on, and then B, to get to the climax to wrap everything up. We get I hate to say this, but it feels like an episode of something like The Persuaders and the other ITC shows of the time that ran for 50 minutes. It does highlight, for me at least, there's enough good stuff in The Protectors, really, that it could have had legs as a 50-minute show. I think I've said before that sometimes as 25 minutes, that isn't enough time to tell the kind of story on the kind of scale that I think the Andersons were hoping for. And this, I mean, in any other show, again, you know, the Persuaders or similar, this probably wouldn't register as a particularly great episode. But the fact that it's so different for the Protectors, it does stand out. It's quite a low-key story. But anywho, our naughty young lady hitchhiked from Vienna, well, not hitchhiked, she caught a lift from Vienna halfway to Salzburg. She's switched. Now Harry Rule is on the case. And again, you know what I'm going to say. I've said it before, but come on, look at this. In HD, this would look so nice. These two contrasting styles of music, they really shouldn't go together, and yet they do. I'm glad that the Protectors' incidental music got increasingly funky through the second series. So, some notes. Everything's fine. Train 1 hour late. Pity we couldn't meet. Love, Monica. That is an important note that will come into play in part 2. They have to have every part of their alibi watertight, because he's going to need that information in part 2. Thanks for goodies. We'll see the rest of that note later. Aww.
Too bad it isn't like that today. And the
Yes.
salt in the fog gives you a thirst.
It would be a shame to go all that way and
Dangerous rumor started by the breweries.
have it turn out on a day like this. But hey, it could have been worse. It could have been raining.
The best hotel in town.
And again, there's still, the scenery just looks gorgeous.
Recently cut off without a penny.
Well, she's not without expectations. Where is she now?
Voila.
And although the Protectors, they do enjoy a lot of drinks through the course of an average episode, it is something they do a lot in this episode because they have more time to tell the story. They also have more time to take a break.
Like the last of the hippies, complete with backpack.
As Alice said, curiouser and curiouser.
So, she's switched gear.
While Paul tails her, I've got a suggestion. You search her hotel room. Where are you staying?
At the
Rathaus, yeah.
There's a fountain in the Mirabelle Gardens. I will meet you there in an hour.
Presumably the most expensive hotel in town. Time for another beer? Well, let's finish this one first. And luckily, the bad weather that they obviously had for that previous scene didn't last. It would have been, you know, if it was chucking it down with rain, this story would have really suffered. I love this music. Yes, some extras there who are aware they're on camera. As the camera tracks away from them, as Paul is following Monica, for that is her name, daughter of concerned parent Rich Bags McMunnington. Brought in the kazoo! I love it. I love it. And I know people rightfully praise Barry Gray and others. I do think the Protectors' music doesn't get enough love. And this, I mean, it may sound incredibly dated to some, but I just enjoy this music to no end. So, Monica has made her way across town to a shop. Looks like it sells electricals, including, well, she's having something taken out of the window. It's a tape recorder, a small portable one. Looked like a reel-to-reel one was also available there. And meanwhile, the Contessa has made her way into Monica's bedroom to search the place. And I miss the funky music already. Oh, more music back? Yes. Doo-doo. Doggy! Yeah, Paul is trailing Monica, but it's, well, look at that. I mean, there's like, a car and a half's distance between them there. And Paul keeps missing her. He was too late to cross the road there, and he's got to wait for the light to change. No, he's a protector. He doesn't have to wait for the light to change. And the Contessa's finding a lot of gear in Monica's room, including the note from her boyfriend. And shall I call him a boyfriend or shall I call him Paul Morrow? And the note says, "Thanks for the goodies, Wham is on." And it's already been on for 12 minutes by my reckoning, but yes, Paul's dropped back a bit to observe Monica from a distance as she parks herself near a river to examine her new purchase of the tape recorder. Oh, that's interesting. There's, I was saying it looks like it was a nice day, but you can see there's the remains of some snow on the side of the river that's still in shade. So this episode again could have looked very different. It could have been snowbound.
Please. Oh, please. You've got to do something. Get us down from here.
I was wondering actually if the river looked like it was a bit frozen there.
Please. He's insane. He means it.
So she's getting into amateur voice work. Always a good move. She's got the tape. And I think now we have no more use for the tape recorder. The sci-fi fan in my brain is having a slight disconnect. The tape recorder looks a bit like a Star Trek tricorder.
This assignment isn't making too much sense.
But it sure looks pretty.
What'd you get from the hotel?
That.
Thanks for the goodies. Wham is on. That helps a lot.
So now to figure out what Wham is. And you hear a lot of horror stories making the Protectors about how the cast were unhappy and the crew were unhappy. But I would have to assume some of it was happy, because Robert Vaughan and Nairi Dawn Porter seem quite at ease with each other here. And I don't see how you could be taken all around Europe, to some of the most beautiful places in the world, and not enjoy it.
Thank you, Harry.
A solid lunch to make up for our liquid lunch that we had about an hour ago.
W-A-M. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Well, no?
Well, how about Women Against Men? Or Whitehall's Ambivalent Mugwumps?
In fact, I'd go so far as to say they're actually enjoying themselves during this location shoot. I could be wrong, but I definitely get that feeling. And Paul has been caught.
Yes.
Fessed up to it immediately.
Do I need an excuse?
All right. For your information, I'm now going back to the hotel. Maybe I'll see you later.
It's a date.
Or maybe you should go jump in the river. It might cool you off. Goodbye.
Oh, wow.
Nice to have met you. Bye.
Well, that could have gone better. Paul's cover is now completely blown. Yeah, I think Monica won that round. Only one thing to do now, and that's to dump the tape recorder, which presumably was not cheap. But hey-ho, she'll soon have all the money she could ever need. And here's an image for you, Space 1999 fans who are unfamiliar with this episode. Prentice Hancock is going to masquerade as a hippie for much of the second half of the story. It's flawless. You'd never tell.
Harry, I'm in trouble. The girl spotted me, so I'm having to keep my distance. Now listen, she just took the tourist bus to the cable car.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you take over from there?
Back to the cable car?
Right. Ciao.
Does it have a bar? Can we sit out there and have a drink? Oh, this looks lovely.
Let's go.
Well, I enjoyed the escargot.
I'll buy you dinner.
What's happened?
Paul phoned in. The girl spotted him.
Such a beautiful place to shoot, and they obviously, I could be wrong, but I doubt that would have taken more than a morning to shoot.
Cable car?
Oh, more beautiful scenery. Yes, lots of mountains around, but in particular, the cable car. And of course the protectors don't see anything suspicious in Prentice Hancock dressed as a hippie, because who would? And he's left a suitcase in the middle of the departure lounge that he's going to conveniently forget to take with him. And I recognise this little guy in the traffic office, ticket office, but I'm not sure what from. I'll have to look him up later. There are other notable actors turning up in the second half of the story, but yes, time for another drink. This is it's our third or fourth beer of the day now. It's a busy life in the world of the Protectors. Oh no, we're on coffee. Monica has arrived. And is she going to take the case that Prentice left? No, this is suspicious. Instead, she's going to pretend to look at postcards. So now the little man that I can't identify is making inquiries about the abandoned suitcase.
Zur Bergfahrt bitte zusteigen. Zur Bergfahrt bitte zusteigen.
What's it all about, Harry?
Wish I knew.
It's so strange to be this close to the end of a Protectors episode, and basically they've discovered nothing. They've achieved nothing. And you know that it's not going to be resolved before the end credits roll. As Monica watches the cable car depart, Paul Morrow is on board, hippie Paul. Also question, 1612, as you've put out a Paul Morrow action figure recently, when can we expect the Paul Morrow hippie variant? Because I just love this, the look. I suspect it's, knowing Prentice from 1999, knowing Paul Morrow, who's a very straight, by-the-books kind of character, and it is quite surreal seeing him dressed like this. And as he's nearly at the top of the cable car, we just kind of have to wait. Check the times. Well, everyone's just kind of looking at each other from across the room now. That's it, the cable car has arrived at the top of the mountain. Everyone is now filing out. And we're going to see more of this setting through the second half. It looks like a lovely place. I honestly think we should do a special recording of the Gerry Anderson podcast up there. If it's still a thing. It might not be. Probably is. So while Paul looks very casual as he gets off the cable car with the rest of the passengers, the Contessa and Harry still have no idea what's going on, but Paul is now going to spring into action. While no one's watching him, he's hurrying back to the cable car to do a little bit of sabotage, because he came prepared. Firstly, I believe he starts with the screwdriver. Yes, very important for sabotaging cable cars. The staff don't lock this, of course, because why would they? Drilled a hole, dropped the drill over the side. I hope that didn't hit someone. And now, yes, we jam a bottle of shaving foam into the hole that's been created, and that's enough to knock the cable car out of action. Now we cut the only telephone connecting the whole mountaintop resort to the ground floor. I hate to be one of these people who says, oh, you could never do that today, but you really couldn't tell this story today, because the idea that there's only one phone at the top of that mountain would be ludicrous. And Harry and the Contessa are now just literally sitting there twiddling their thumbs, pulling what's going on faces at each other as Paul makes his way to the top. And it falls to hotel employee to discover that the phone is cut, that the lift mechanism is out of action. Oh, that looks so gorgeous. That scenery is so high that you've got this lovely cloud cover so far below. It just looks beautiful. Oh, now there's another phone. There was another phone. Paul has also cut that one. Ah, yes. Because remember, he did his full recce. He's been up here before. He knows what's what, how many phones there are. What now? Anything else we can sabotage? Nope. It's time to make our demands.
Attention. Attention. Attention.
This poor little guy is so confused. There's a voice coming from the suitcase that was left in the lobby. The voice of Paul Morrow.
Attention. Attention.
Demanding attention, attention,
Attention.
and attention.
Are you there?
Yeah, I recognise this guy. I don't know if it's from Doctor Who, maybe.
What's wrong? Please, sir, come, please, sir.
Ah, Monica's making her escape. Contessa's been deployed to pursue her. While Harry, for no reason other than the fact that he was the only man in the lobby, has been called in to deal with the talking suitcase.
Who is this?
My identity doesn't matter. What is important is that you understand the situation. We are armed and have explosives.
And pigeons.
Do not attempt to send up the other cable car.
I love watching the pigeons.
Or people will be hurt.
Ooh.
We mean what we say.
So there's a threat to end part one with. Yes, Paul Morrow has essentially hijacked an entire mountain resort full of people and hostages, as far as Harry knows. And I find that a really effective opener for the Only Protectors two-parter, because we get enough information. In fact, at times we know more than about what's going on the Protectors do. And it's also, well, how are they going to get out of this one? It's such a simple story, very simple, and yet the extra running time gives it so much more room to breathe, and we'll discover more about that in part 2 next week.
Ah, the first part of a two-part story.
Which means...
Yes, that next week will be the second part of the two-part story.
It's that rare occurrence where it's the least random of the randomizers, where we know what's happening.
But does that mean that Genevieve Gaunt will still be pressing the button?
Well, there's no point, really, is there? I mean,
She'll be devastated.
We can leave it up to her and Chris to arrange something.
Exactly, yeah. But the Protectors.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to get it out of the way, isn't it? That's what I always think. Okay, there we are. That's that one done. And a two-parter as well, so it's 2 birds in 1 stone.
Yes, yeah, fair enough.
I don't mind the Protectors.
Yeah, no, I'm ambivalent towards it. Just whatever.
Yeah. Do you wish that it had more of a sci-fi element?
Oh, it just doesn't feel very Anderson, does it?
No.
That's the thing, because it was a
What could they have done
for hire gig.
Yeah.
I mean, what pushed it into the future? I'm now imagining, you know that, was it a Children in Need Blackadder episode where they went into sort of future Blackadder? I'm wondering what future Protectors would be like.
Yes.
Would it be like First Action Bureau? I don't know. Ooh. I don't really want to say First Action Bureau is the modern Anderson version of the Protectors, because that feels...
It would put a lot of people off as well.
It feels rather cruel on First Action Bureau.
Of course, we were talking to Genevieve Gaunt very briefly about First Action Bureau. If you don't know what First Action Bureau is, then you can head on over to the Gerry Anderson YouTube channel, because I think every episode is still up there.
Yeah, or through your podcast app of choice. Just search for First Action Bureau and more First Action Bureau at some time in the future, we think.
We think there might be more First Action Bureau. Yeah, great.
Okay, good.
All for now. Shall we meet again soon and do all this again for pod 277?
I would love to do it for 277.
Great. See you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
Yeah, I feel like that might be the worst marketing message that I've ever thought of.
What? First Action Bureau meets the Protectors.
It's the Protectors of the modern Anderson era, yeah.
Wouldn't be a very successful pitch, would it, if you were trying to get that off the ground?
I think that Yeah, no, I won't be saying that again. But what is it? Is it Joe 90? I mean, it sort of is Joe 90 in some ways.
First Action Bureau.
Yeah.
Now, it's very interesting you should say that. I don't know what I could say, but let's imagine that First Action Bureau had some kind of prequel.
Let's just imagine.
There might be some elements of Joe 90 in it.
Really?
One might imagine.
Okay.
In terms of...
a thatched cottage.
No. In terms of implanted
slightly
experiences.
Weird parental... Oh, sorry. Okay, right.
Actually, there is some slightly weird parental stuff going on, hypothetically.
Over-engineered Jack car?
Yes, almost certainly.
Oh.
I've just realised I've stolen Joe 90.
Oh, well, you're in the right place to do that. Well done.
Oh, well, there we are.
Here's to plagiarism.
Yes, we enjoy a bit of that.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
That was an Anderson Entertainment production.